Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, but it seems I don't get to choose the videos I make. It seems the videos I make choose me, and somebody has to do a review of the Grok for Heavy, and since no one in the internet has taken it upon themselves to do it, it seems that it's gonna be done by me. So welcome to the Grok for Heavy review. So why did I purchase this thing first of all? Well, very simple. I in my company end up having a lot of tasks that can be done better by an AI, an LLM, than a human trying to replicate the best practices. And so I've ended up concluding it's just cheaper to pay a little extra for the LLM and remove all the human work from writing like emails, templates, that kind of stuff. And so, what is the difference between the heavy model and the normal model? So, you'll see in the dashboard itself, there's the models here, and the heavy one uses three different agents. So, it's like you ask the question to three different groks instead of one to get the answer. Now, does it provide you better answers? Well, I've been testing out whether or not you get better answers. The conclusions I came to really is that you get a generally more accurate answer, but you don't get a smarter answer. Meaning, if you ask 10 Grok 4s the same question, you're going to get similar answers, but sometimes they're different. And sometimes one is slightly better than the others. The AV model seems to generate a slightly higher quality output, but not because the model is smarter, but because it thinks deeper and longer about things. So it does use more compute than the other ones, and it also tries to do almost an assessment of out of the three agents that assessed the question, which one is better. And so, what is this translating to in reality? Well, you get slightly better answers. You also get slightly more tokens, so you can use more, do more queries. I don't do coding, and so we're a company that doesn't actually do most of like coding stuff. We work in the health field, so we don't really do a lot of programming and stuff. But it is a very, very, very good tool to create templates and stuff like that. Now, what have I found that is working the best to create quality documents? I've actually come up with a concept I call context texts, and this is pretty much what it sounds like. I just get Grok to like use a lot of context that I input. I mean, like pages and pages. I'll give you an example. So this is probably blurred out because I don't want to show the specifics here. But this is the context that I'm giving Grok in order for it to write a promotional email for us. So this is maybe 14 pages of context, and then in the end I just ask him, so this is what I need help with, blah 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 blah. But because I've just inputted all this context, he's able to give me answers. Now, why am I so positively surprised with Grok? I end up having to fill out a lot of complicated documents for my company because we've got offices in multiple countries. I get all sorts of documents, legal, accounting, whatever, in all different languages that take a bunch of time to fill out. And whenever I go ahead and fill out these documents myself, I gotta like actually think about what I'm reading and what I'm having to what I'm being asked to fill out and to fill out. And Grok just does something amazing, which is if you feed him maybe like 20 pages of contexts, like company documents, whatever, it just fills out things accurately and many times better than if you're trying to fill them out quickly or if you give them some supporting staff member at your company. And so for filling out documents and creating templates, I think this platform, this tool is amazing. It's actually very capable of using logic as well. So as you can see, it thinks very deeply about stuff. It is faster than the deep search models, and it seems to be doing deep searching things quite well. But if you ask him like very complex riddles, and this is when I started the video, I also asked him about a couple riddles. So this is like 20 riddles maybe, and he's just going through them. When he does reply, I betcha he's going to get them, all of them correct. And these are riddles that I specifically chose because prior models were not getting them accurately. And so if you actually, you can do this test by yourself. If you go here and you ask hardest questions and riddles for LLMs, there is a website. This is very basic. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one. So get all of these questions, and most prior LLMs just failed at most of them. Now, I've run this test before, so I kind of know how it goes, but I do want to show this in real time. And basically, once he finishes, he should get them all correctly. And so, what is my big summary of Grok Heavy? Is it worth it? Well, unless you have a lot of leverage in what you're doing, Grok 4 is very similar to the Heavy model, and so Grok 4 is also very good. It's actually the best in terms of like bang for your buck model, I think, out there. And so really, really great. But if you go here, and I'm just gonna open this now here, what you do get with Heavy is he thinks a little bit deeper and is slightly more accurate, it seems. But it is a very good model, the Grok 4. I think it's more than enough, unless you really have a lot of leverage. I think in our case, because I do use a lot of prompts and I do benefit a lot from just a slight increase in quality of the output, because I do have plenty of leverage here. I benefit from the $3,000 model. I think from most people, the $300 one is more than enough. If you ask me, is the difference between the Grok 3 and the Grok 4 big? It is huge. I've also used, just FYI, I've had the Pro plan, the $300 a month one for OpenAI as well. I've never had the paid ones for Google Gemini, but I've used the Pro model in the past as well. They're getting better, but I think the the Grok 4 from XAI is currently the best one in terms of logic. It's gotten almost everything I asked him correct, to a point where the questions I ask that are really tough logical questions, if he struggles to answer them, I probably struggle to answer them as well. I'm not entirely sure who's correct. And so this is a really great model if you give him feedback, if you give him context. And this is really my key takeaway. If you're watching this video, you're going to get a great takeaway, I think, from this video, which I don't think is in the interwebs a lot at this point, because I don't use this for coding. I use this to do really complex templates, filling out forms, that kind of stuff. And the thing I found out is he takes in a lot of context, a lot of input. And so if you just get 14 pages, as I just showed you here, if you give him 14 pages of context and you just tell him, here's all the context in the world about the problem, carefully go about solving it, he solves it pretty well, which is a wonderful thing. And in terms of the question, just so you see like the benchmark, so this is the tough questions most LLMs apparently were not able to answer. I don't know how old this is or how like easy it is for LLMs now, but I've done this before and he got all of them right on the other try. And so takes one trip, correct. Cheetah, 10, 8. They can both cross the river by boat. They can both cross the river by boat. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but as you can see, it's pretty correct. Also, there's two questions, which I think the website itself got wrong, because I looked at them myself and they didn't really make sense. So this one and this one, which one is it? This one. I don't think the website actually got them right. Let me know if I'm incorrect in this. But if you go about reading this question carefully, the answer that makes sense is actually the one here and not the one here, which also tells you he didn't just scroll the website and give you the answer you wanted. You actually went through thinking about them and gave an answer that makes sense. And I don't know if this is like some trick question or something that they put here just to see if the website just crawled the website and gave you the answers in the page. But this one I think is actually correct and the website got it wrong. And so that's what I was saying in terms of, I think it seems to me at least. And so that's what I was saying in terms of the tools are actually getting smarter than the the people creating the test for the tool, which is an interesting thing. And so that's where we are in terms of LLMs. I wish I could show you some like graphs or something, but I think this is as good as it gets in terms of questions. If you want to search for like performance graph, I think you can find them yourself. XAI did publish some stuff that showed Grok 4 Heavy was a genius and Grok 4 was very smart. They're quite similar. The big difference is really you get marginally, slightly better answer from the heavy model, but the 4 compared to the 3, compared to the other models, is heads and shoulders above anything else. And so I've used it a lot. In the first couple of days, I was hitting the limit of the tool constantly, and I've had a great experience. They also have wonderful support. That's something I've noticed in Musk's companies. They all have really great customer support. You ask for something and they give you. You ask, for example, Starlink. We got Starlink and we're not able to use it due to the position of like the satellites. And I asked for a refund many days later, and they actually got me a refund for some of the parts without having to give them back. So their policy for customer service also tells a very, very decent, and that's something I like about XAI. They're not going to just take your money and no refund or something like that. Because I actually refunded my earlier plan to get to this one, and they were kind enough to refund it, even though the website says no refunds, which was a pleasant surprise and nice thing by them. And so I've got good experience with XAI, and like the consensus seems to be right now. And so overall, is it worth it? Probably not, unless you get a lot of leverage. Is the 4 model, the simpler one, $300 a year, $30 a month worth it? I bet you. I think it is. I think it's really good. I think it gives you a tremendous amount of leverage. I mean, an employee costs you almost $100,000 a year. This costs you $3,000 a year. And it does the job better, faster, and more attentively than most employees. So that's my review of the Grok 4 model. What are the limits, by the way? Limits. You get 60 queries for Grok 4 and about 20 per hour. I think it's every 2 hours. 60 every 2 hours for Grok 4 and 20 every 2 hours for Grok 4 Heavy. Something along those lines. And so it's not much larger than what you get in the basic plan. This is changing. This changed in the first few days, so that's why I don't know the numbers by heart. In the first few days, the limit we had on Grok 4, the Grok 4 plan without the heavy model, was 20 queries every 2 hours. Then it increased to 30 for the normal plan. In the heavy plan, you get 60 queries every 2 hours as of right now for Grok 4, and I believe you get 20 for the heavy model. Also, important thing to note that I didn't note, which irritated me a lot in the beginning. Grok 4 Heavy, in the last few days, and since I started this video and in the last several days, never failed to give me an answer every time I were asked something, even if it was like a very complex, and as you can see, I do give a lot of complex instructions and stuff. He has recently always answered the questions. I don't know if they did some changes, but in the beginning, it was always fumbling. In the first few days, every time I asked something, it would just error out, glitch out, and stop working and just give up. And so that was pretty irritating, and I was getting actually quite frustrated with the plan because I did pay $3,000 for it and it wasn't working. But a few days after, it just started getting more and more questions completed, and now it's gotten to a point where I don't recall the last time I asked something and they didn't reply. So just keep that in mind. And to be honest, if I can give him like 15 pages of context and still get the answer I was looking for, and he remembers most of the stuff, and I can upload like just pages and pages and pages of documents. Yesterday I uploaded like 150 pages of like PDFs to find a couple things in those documents, and he was able to read them all. Then I think you won't have an issue with him just glitching out and giving up. It was happening in the past, but it's not happening anymore. So this is the Grok 4 Heavy review. I don't know if there's any other review videos on YouTube as of yet of the Grok model, the heavy model. So this is it. Hope you enjoy it. I'm not a YouTuber, so please don't complain that I could have done things better. Yeah, sure, I could. Why don't you do a better job than me if you think I'm doing a poor job? And I understand. I understand there's always room for improvement. I just wanted to do this because I searched for it myself before I purchased it, and there wasn't really any information out there. And so hopefully this helps some of you that are considering it to make up your mind and make your decision. The limits are marginally higher than the base plan. The tool is also marginally better. If you are looking for a huge improvement, it's probably not worth it. If you're happy with just a slight improvement because you got a lot of leverage in your business, in your ventures, whatever, I think it's indeed worth it. And now you have all the information you need to make a decision. Alrighty, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.